still about a 5.5. Seems I feel better now that I got 8 something. Starting to feel a little lightheaded downstairs. Definitely need to make note to eat more before I come in at a timely manner. Because I didn't today.
Sounds like something maybe we spend an hour talking about, so everybody has some more information.
Now we're talking about the fact that I didn't eat enough before I came
Well,
today.
not you specifically, but maybe like how to structure your nutrition and hydration on the days that we do hard workouts.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, AI is great for things like that, but put it on the agenda.
You got a little banana schmutz on your.
I'm saving it for later, appreciate you.
That much later you were saving it for? That much later you were saving it for?
I mean, everybody has to go eventually, we can take all night, but then we all gotta check in.
What is there is it just a regular check?
Just a regular check-in, we're just getting started.
Okay.
Just the beginning of it.
I'm on the 5.
Okay.
I like a workout like that I can just pace myself and go and not go too hard. I like not having a clock on it. That fucks with my head in a bad way. Like the recovery gym, and everybody posts their times and like, that's very unhealthy for me. So I like it. I had a good workout. Made me feel good. It was a good process downstairs. I feel good. About it, I feel good. I have a lot that I'm thinking about. Like I said, I struggled with my purpose for a while, what I'm dealing with, and like, I feel like maybe I find something right now. It's good.
Okay. Good.
I'm like a 4.
Nothing else? Nothing else?
Not really.
We got it all figured out?
I don't know if anything I can figure out.
Oh, well, I mean, at least let us know, shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't want you to say anything, that's why let me know how you're doing, what's going on.
I don't know, just been tired and depressed.
Here we go, that's it. Tired and depressed. About to run out of shot. Too much tricep. Alright, topic for discussion tonight is confidence. Why is it important? Where does it come from? How do we get more? Whoa, baby. And what makes it less? What is confidence?
Belief in your ability to do something?
Your ability to do something?
Yeah, no, that's not quite right.
There are no right or wrong answers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite what I was trying to express.
Okay.
More like your faith in your ability to do something.
Oh, your faith, so it's a belief?
Yeah. I guess. I don't know.
Again, not to make it a semantic conversation, but if you believe something, you don't know it.
True.
So is it something based in fact and reality, or is it something that you conjure and you convince yourself of?
Well, a little bit of both, perhaps. You conjure your belief based upon the fact of the reality of your ability to do or to do something, I guess. I don't know, I'm gonna turn around.
I was gonna say, that sounds a little circular, but that's okay.
I think here we're talking about not just confidence, but here we're implying self-confidence. I think we're talking about self-confidence in these.
Yeah, there's definitely relevant.
Well, it's finding value in yourself.
Finding value in yourself. How come I didn't write self-worth up there?
Well, they are kind of intertwined. To some degree, I'd say.
Okay.
But the word literally means faith in yourself, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the definition we're looking for here.
Yeah, we're not looking for anything. There's no right or wrong. This is all abstract, and we're trying to contextualize it.
Finding meaning in yourself.
Finding meaning in yourself. Excuse me. Go like that. Philosophize a little bit. Why is it important to find meaning in yourself?
When you find meaning, when something has meaning to you, you connect with it, and it inspires you, and it motivates you.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit because you said meaning in yourself and you immediately externalized to finding something somewhere else outside of yourself. So what you said and what I asked was finding meaning in yourself is important. Why? And you said inspiration, external, external. Those are not the same thing.
So then finding value in the self.
And again, I don't think you're wrong. I'm asking why is it important? Okay, so I've looked at all of your treatment plans. All of you are here seeking treatment, and in some way, shape, or form, you've mentioned not feeling self-confident, or lacking self-esteem, or an inability to actualize. So there's something about this that all of us are being challenged with, or are struggling with, or don't understand, or are seeking to get better or make improvement about it. But right now, in the moment, nobody's saying shit. So that we really don't know what this is and why it's important and how it's applied to our lives.
It's difficult to define. I feel like there's only one kind of confidence is the thing.
Yeah, great. And again, there's no wrong answers. I don't care that it's difficult to define. Say whatever's coming to your mind. That way we can all kind of bounce it off each other and say, is that what we really mean? Does this make sense? Does it feel connected to what we're trying to achieve here? You're right. It's broad and general and vast, and we're not going to nail it all down in these 4 questions. It's not my intent. My intent is for us to have some kind of robust conversation about why this is an issue and how it applies to A, the processes that got us into addiction, and B, how it applies to the processes of treatment and recovery and what you're going to do with your lives after you get out of here.
Okay, well, maybe the best way to define confidence is to talk about ways we felt unconfident in the past.
I hate that and love that.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just thinking about some of the shit I've gone through in the last year, for example, that has led to me kind of giving up on finding a job unless I go back to school. I send out hundreds of job applications, I never hear back. When I do, it's usually from multi-level marketing schemes or for really shitty jobs that are in Berlin or something and I can't get them. And it doesn't feel great. It makes me feel like crap. And when I have worked in more recent years, it's been really simple, very rote jobs that anyone can do. And I've lost those jobs as well. So, I mean, the last one was my own fault. It had nothing to do with my performance. It's because I was stealing stuff. So, which I'm not proud of, but I may as well put that out there. But still, it didn't feel great to lose that job.
Sure.
It didn't feel great to think about the fact that I was a thief. And like I remember when I did lose that job, I'd been trying to go sober. I'd been sober for a month, and I just completely relapsed. I just felt like garbage, and I felt like I didn't matter, and that I wasn't ever going to be like worth anything to any company, and so I'd never be able to be independent. And so this all sounds terrible, and it's not how I feel right now, but that was my mindset.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, not really.
Now we have some context, right? So
Yeah.
again, sort of to reflect and just sort of simplify what you said, going through the process of like trying to attain a job and either not getting a job or getting jobs that you felt were menial or below your skill level or something like that, and then losing those jobs. So what's the impact? What's the emotional felt sense of that experience? When did you know that you weren't feeling confident? Was it after the first one, or the 10th one, or the 100th?
Somewhere between the 10th and 100th, probably.
Okay, so again, initially in the process, you were like stoked on it, you were doing a thing, you were making an effort, you felt confident that at some point you could get a job, but after so many times, your confidence is eroded, your confidence goes away,
It's
your confidence...
eroded, I'd say, personally. In this specific situation, I'd say that was what happened.
Okay.
And I kept thinking about, I kept beating myself up about mistakes I'd made in the past, in other jobs, for example, and I just felt, that just made me feel worse. And it made me feel like things were, that like, there must be something wrong with me, that I can't get any good jobs, even though I've done all the work, I've talked to career counselors, I've had people work on my resume, all that shit, with no success. And it felt really fucking bad. And eventually I just kind of gave up. And I'm working on finding a path out of that mindset now, going back to grad school, but I think if I didn't have that as an option, I don't know how I feel right now, to be perfectly honest.
So even right now, you're feeling more confident, or you still feel like you felt?
I feel like I can complete grad school, and I'm hoping that'll help. And I'm just going to keep telling myself that it definitely will,
Yeah.
because I want to stay alive.
Good. So what changed now that you're feeling confident, or at least more confident than you were?
Well, I've gotten some positive feedback in relation to this, at the very least.
Okay.
Before, I felt like I was just kind of putting in a lot of work alone, sending out resumes, or doing menial work, and never getting really rewarded for it. And then I got paid for it, but you know.
So what's that? Why is that not a reward?
Because the place I worked at was exceptionally understaffed. So I was working extremely hard on the days that I was working for much less than I was probably owed.
And that didn't make you feel confident in the work you were doing?
No. It made me think I was working for a company that just needed hands to pick things off the shelves, which they did. And that they didn't care about me outside of that, which they didn't. And like, I knew that going into it,
Right.
but it still didn't feel great.
Sure.
Did you follow up with a lot of these resumes you sent out?
I did.
What kind of bug them and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a question of feeling not valued,
Oh, yeah.
and then in turn not feeling valuable yourself.
Mm.
And I know that this is just a very specific life experience, but I mean, it relates to confidence. I feel like shit.
Absolutely.
I kept thinking about other times in other jobs where I made mistakes,
Yep.
and I thought, oh God, what if I'm never going to be able to have like a better job because I'm going to constantly be fucking up, which is completely illogical. But
Well, I wouldn't say so, because people do that their whole lives. There are definitely people who do exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
But you don't want that.
I don't want that.
Yeah, okay. Good, so David's given us some context at least, and we don't need to break down the content or pick apart like what he could have done better. That's not what I'm trying to do. He's given us a little bit of context, and even the word that you added, valued or feeling valued, right? That plays into this. So now we at least have a little bit of context. What else?
Yeah, just from my story, it's funny, like I've had this awakening since getting clean at 21. Like the difference for me between like not caring and confidence, like I used to be really good at my job because I didn't care what people thought. It was a superpower. Like I would walk in and go to these hearings and not care, and it made me really loose, you know, like, and not care what other people said. I just say whatever, had no filter, you know, and that was effective. It was effective for like what I was, my goals. But I wasn't like, it would come off as confidence. Like if somebody saw that, they're like, oh, that's a very, very confident person. But I wasn't, I just didn't care, because I was in a really bad spot, like with my life, and I just didn't care. And then I realized that recently. I just had this thought recently because I don't know, I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I was in a bad place, but shoot, like, really did a lot of good work. Like going to showing up to hearings hungover, not caring. People really, I like thought that if I showed up hungover, like I was better because I cared less. But it came off as even more confident. It was like this. I got like a negative feedback loop on that. So like. I don't know. I just had that thought recently. Like I used to use not caring as like a shield of like looking like I'm confident.
Interesting.
Because I wasn't. I was really internally like very. I don't know.
Is detached a word that we would use?
Detached, but scared, and not confident. Like I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing here.
Yeah. And instead of expressing that, you just kind of had some nonchalance, and people
Yeah.
observed that and said, "Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
He must have it together because he doesn't give a fuck."
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Good. Some more context. So there's ways that we can behave, or ways that we can sort of convince other people
Yeah.
that we're confident, even though that's not the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece, right? Because most of us, that's what we do. Most of us, we figure out some kind of system, some kind of skill or way of communicating with people that makes us feel like they think we're confident.
You can substitute it with a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
You can substitute it with articulation,
Yeah.
with loquaciousness, just with speaking.
Getting a grad degree and having a master's in something and standing over in front of people.
Speaking louder or longer.
It is, though, it's one of the most valuable things in society. I honestly think it's the most valuable tool I have ever, is walking into a room confident about what we're doing.
Sure.
People not relate, but they gravitate towards it.
They do.
Like when I go to investors invested in Hydro project, I'm confident we're going to do the work.
Mhm.
I'm confident that we're going to design it right and we're going to build it right. And they feel that, and then That's
They spend a lot of money on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so it's powerful. It's a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something more powerful, but it's up there. Just saying.
It helps a lot.
It does push things in a positive direction. Okay, I think we're getting closer, but I don't know if we've yet put our finger on at least the first question.
I guess
Why?
confidence lets you keep going, even when
Confidence?
things seem difficult.
Confidence lets you keep going.
Yeah.
Man, I've done a lot of hard shit not feeling confident about it.
Okay, yeah, but I'm sure it would have felt a little bit easier if you had felt more confident about
Do you
it.
feel confident while you're doing the hard thing or after? you're
Depends
doing
on
it?
the thing. I guess after.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like you don't usually, if it's really challenging you, if it's actually pushing your growth edge, you probably don't feel confident while you're doing it. It's the ability to reflect on it afterwards, or in the next situation say, oh, I know I did a hard thing back then, so this thing is not actually that hard. I feel confident doing this next thing, not actually the hard thing that you did.
But we can predict, like, we're like, I'm confident I'm gonna get something out of this hard thing.
Yeah, but now we're kind of leaning toward like, does confidence equal certainty? And I don't know that confidence equals certainty.
I mean, I think it almost does. There's
Yeah.
like an ethereal quality to it where like if you're truly confident of something happen, like it happens.
So there's like some kind of like a priming sort of thing that happens. Like if you go into a situation confident, the likelihood that the thing happens goes up.
I'm talking like it's just confidence in its purest sense, if that makes sense, where it's like there's been times where like I just knew I was gonna make the basket and I did.
Sure.
And I really can't think of a time when I had that feeling of confidence that it's ever not happened.
Yeah.
Now it's like really few and far between when I have that,
Right.
but I feel like that's confidence in its purest sense. And there's like some ethereal quality that's connected to the way the universe works.
I think so.
You know, where you get fortune favors the bowl.
Yes.
Blah blah blah.
Yes, absolutely. Another good context. Another good example. And yet, why?
Because it's the pathway to growth.
Okay, here we go. Now we're on to something.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that could be a sufficient why. We need to be confident, right? And sort of to Foley's point, and sort of to your point, David, not confident when we're doing the thing, but afterwards having survived whatever the thing is, and saying, cool, goddamn, I made it through that. There should be a little uptick in your personal confidence, in your personal self-worth, in your personal self-esteem. You survived the thing, you reflect on it, and you say, whatever it was, a hard workout, or an investment that was super sketchy, or a hand that you played a poker that could have been another way, and then you reflect on it, and you're like, whew, that was awesome. I did a good thing. And that can lead to an experience of expanding your boundaries, or being better at something, or in some way improving yourself.
I go the opposite way with it though.
Please do.
Is that just I need to reframe? Is that like some CBT stuff?
So what do you mean you go the opposite way?
Well, like I struggle with confidence with like relationships, like communicating with women,
Sure.
and so I would just be like, I'm a fucking lame ass loser. Like even though I physically, emotionally, mentally made it through the interaction.
Survive.
Yeah, like if I didn't get her number, or like if I texted her and she doesn't respond, then I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, well, I'm fucking, I just get really down on myself.
You internalize that as a personal failing.
Well, yeah, because I truly believe, like, if you do things in a certain way due to the laws of the universe. They lead to certain outcomes. So like, I have no other option but to like view that as a personal failure. Like, I've gone beyond like being like, well, it's her. But then they try to say just that, like, well, she's got all this going on in her life, and like, yeah, but if I still would have interacted on that razor's edge in the correct way, like, it would have happened. So then I just reflect that back to myself, I guess. You know, it's like, like you use an analogy of like a basketball player trying to get through a bunch of defenders, but like if you were Michael Jordan, like there was a way through them.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, 99% of the other basketball players couldn't do it, and then you could reframe that as like, well, their defense was on point, there's nothing you could have done, you know, you pat yourself on the back, did the best you could.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, well, no, that's pretty lame. Like, I should have been in there, you know. I feel like I go jello in the paint when I need to go mellow in the paint.
I love it. It's a great analogy. I mean,
That's the first I've ever heard that.
It's from a rap song. He's like, you go jello in the paint, I go mellow in the paint.
Yeah, I love it.
okay, good. Some more context. Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the only thing I really struggle with confidence in. And it's weird because I don't struggle with it in any other arena of relation, like communicating, like not with other men, not with like just professional peers,
Mm-hmm.
like not in working out, not in school, not in anything except for that.
Yeah. So what is it that makes it different?
Well, I think it touches on like the attachment, vulnerability, not feeling like I deserve good things probably deep down, and then just repeated bad experiences of it really.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta break the cycle.
Well, we've had me and Keith were talking, it just seems like, and it's even more frustrating because it probably sounds like egotistical, but I feel like I see a ton of hot chicks with just super lame ass dudes everywhere. Like everywhere. And they look at me like I'm the weirdo. Like, and we had a whole conversation on this.
We did.
And that's like even more insulting, and it's like, I don't get it.
Now maybe we're getting a little too specific, but I hear what you're saying. And it's
So I brought it up because that's the only thing I really struggle with.
Yeah, good. And it's good to know. We're not going to solve that right now, for sure, but, you know, so now we can talk about things like the stakes, like the consequences or benefits to being confident in a situation or not having confidence in a situation. Being Michael Jordan, who definitely has hit game-winning shots, right? But he's also missed a shit ton of times as well.
I think we're talking about risk and reward now.
We could talk about risk and reward. Is that relevant to confidence?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes something you're trying to work on for yourself is just something personal.
And there's no consequence or benefit to it?
Well, there might be a benefit to it, but it's not like it's going to be affecting other people necessarily.
Does it have to affect other people?
It's a good question. Probably not.
Yeah. I don't necessarily believe it does. I think there are consequences and benefits to any situation where confidence is part of the equation. Again, it could be just for yourself. It could definitely have impact or be impacted by other people as well. But say more what you were going to say about risk and reward.
They're directly proportional. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. We're not talking about monetary reward, but it's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So the more you have at stake, or the more you have to gain, the bigger chance you take on something can potentially,
Provide a bigger payoff.
yeah, or a bigger path to growth, or a bigger improvement.
Oh, okay, I see. So potentially the more you risk going through a situation, surviving it, and then reflecting on it, the more you gain confidence from that situation.
That the more confidence you gain to lead you into the next time something happens.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
it's reward today gives you the confidence of believing in what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
taking chances, taking educated guesses,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like what you're doing is going to lead to growth. It instills that sense of, it reinforces that sense of what you're doing is good and right and benefiting and valuable.
Mm. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I think you read my chart because like, my problem's the other way. Like I have too much confidence. I'm like, fuck, I can do this, and then I go right into it and I hurt myself or something. Because that's what happens a lot with me. That's like an issue. It's like a recurring issue. Everybody in your life would probably say that I have too big of an ego and I'm too confident.
Mm. And it doesn't always pay out like Zach was just talking about, where you get a big payoff.
Well, that would maybe be
Probably
cockiness
does.
instead of confidence. I think it's a spectrum.
Well, I usually
think
believe in
confidence-
myself though. I'm like, I can fucking do this.
Well, no, I think there is some cockiness to like too, but it's like.
I mean, I have pulled off some high risk, high reward stuff, right?
Yeah.
I have. I like totally, like way out of my element. I've also put myself in very dangerous situations doing that.
But it might be, the idea is to find a balance, to sometimes being afraid of doing everything is not good. Being risk averse is good in a way if you find a balance, and being overconfident can be bad. It's
So that's interesting. What is overconfident?
I think it's, well, it sounds like it's what you described, Keith. It's like,
Well, but it hurts it's hurt my recovery too, right? Because I'm like, I can go into this situation and be okay, and I wasn't.
Mm.
And I walked into, like, first time I got clean off drugs, I thought I could still drink, right? I was confident that it was just the drugs. So I quit the drugs, drank for 3 or 4 months like a normal person. I'm not really like an alcoholic, classically, but one time I drank a little too much, and then I went and got April, and then I was back in it.
Mm.
So like I was overconfident in that situation, and then I can name several that are very kind of similar, where I just was like, oh, I can still hang out with my old drug dealer. We're friends, you know. I'd go over there, and then finally one day I'm like, can I just get a line? You know, like it just that was irrational.
Yeah.
so it's understanding your limits,
Yeah.
I guess.
So there's an element of confidence that also has to be sort of like reason.
Yeah.
If we go beyond reason, then we get into cockiness or overconfidence.
Yeah. And that's not serving me.
But also, how do you know what your limits are?
Lord, look at us on the path.
What if you're like, if you're someone who is low self-esteem or low confidence, who thinks that they can't do much?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously then you probably don't succeed at very much if you think that way, and I speak from experience.
Well, you can't succeed at anything if you don't do anything.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
I would say you would know where like your lower limit is.
Well, yeah, but like,
So the flip side, you would find your limits by pushing the other way.
yes. I know that years ago I used to work as a CIP for a camp that I loved going to when I was a camper, and I even got offered a job to work as a camp counselor,
Mm.
and I turned it down because I didn't think I'd be good at it.
Mm.
Really?
And I think back on that a lot, and I wonder if that's true a lot, and I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
But I thought it was new and it was scary, and so I just said, no, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So
You didn't feel confident based on.
honestly, I think it was just that it was new and it was more responsibility.
Okay.
That was literally just a lot of fear, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Where does confidence come from? Or where do we feel it in our bodies? Or
Repeated success.
where does it show up in our repeated success?
Yeah. Not maybe of a thing, but of yourself. Like if you do something and succeed, you start to believe in yourself a little more.
So you touched on one aspect that I think is super important, that confidence is action oriented. You said do a thing. You didn't say think a thought or have a belief.
Yeah.
You said when you do a thing
Yeah.
and it gets done, and you check that box and you say, I have done such and such. You do that again and again, that's where it gets developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Repeated success.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that.
You have none repeated? You've done one success. and
I
that's it?
disagree with you.
I was gonna say, you've done
Well,
some
not
success.
like relationships.
Yeah, so
but
yeah,
life.
we've done life.
But yeah, but that's not the issue.
Well, it's not your.
The issue isn't already where I'm killing it.
I don't know where, but like, can you pull the success of one area of your life into other?
Aha!
I
If
don't-
you're confident in one aspect of life, can you apply it to other aspects of your life?
I mean, I don't think so. Like an example of not doing that.
Okay. We call that a self-limiting belief.
I mean, maybe. I just don't see how they could spill over.
Yeah, you don't see, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. It doesn't mean that they couldn't.
Well, because even like when they're like, well, go do stuff you're confident at, and I do, and like that doesn't help anything. If anything, like they're probably like intimidated a little bit, and then I perceive that as disinterest, and everything backfires.
You should probably just stop trying then, probably.
I mean, I kind of have.
Yeah, well,
I'm pretty indifferent towards.
there you go. Now you and David are gonna sit like bumps on a log together and not do anything.
Well, we'll be in grad school together at least.
Okay, so that's
This
one
is what I'm
way.
here to fix.
No, I'm not gonna make
I
light
know,
of that.
kidding.
So where does it come from? Yes, I think repeated success, but another where is like, how do we experience it? When you know that, when you've done a thing and you do experience confidence, like, think about our four pillars: physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual. I think confidence touches all of those, but let's articulate it. Like you were talking about, there's like a higher, like when things coalesce in the universe and you have the right mindset and you happen to do the right thing and your skills and abilities match up and it all just goes together. Have we all had those experiences, or one of those experiences? So we know what it's like. So what's it about?
Yeah, it's when all those things are firing, peaking.
Yeah, but tell me what the experience of it is. The physical experience
Physical
of confidence
you
is
feel
what?
strong.
You feel strong.
You feel upright, strong.
Okay, good. What else? Any other physical experiences of it? Like when you nail the shot, when you meet the girl, when you receive.
Alert.
Okay, alert. So like present and aware. I think so. What else?
I was gonna say you feel good, you feel rewarded, but I feel like that's what comes after you've done the thing.
And that's usually when confidence comes in. So I think you're on track. Again, we don't experience confidence in the trenches or in the process of doing a thing. It's the afterwards and the reflection. So that makes sense. At the end, when you've done the thing, you feel
Relief.
oh, relief is nice that it didn't get fucked up.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. There's no joy, no excitement, no happiness.
Very rare.
You're just like sitting there like, whoa, god damn it, good thing it's over.
I'm conditioned like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there've been plenty of my own experiences where it's the same thing. Like, just check the box of making through that, I'm good to go, let's get on to the next.
Yeah, I have really high expectations. I do something pretty substantial to like feel good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with having high expectations. Setting the bar
Mine
high.
are pretty too high though.
Well, we'll probably chat about that later.
It feels good though. I stupidly, like, the only place of like work, the expectations are super high, and I just, relief is just, getting stuff done. But
Yeah.
and I hit a backhanded drive in pickleball last week. I've been working on this stupid shot for 2 months. I hit it. Felt so good.
And nailed it.
Nailed it. Drop, like reverse court drop drive, just right past everybody. Skidded off the line, and I was like, man.
And you did one of that.
I hit it into the net like 10 times before that. Yeah, I did. I was full. It was as much satisfaction as I've had in a long time.
Satisfaction, that's what I was getting at. feeling of knowing that you did the thing that you were working to achieve. Fulfillment, satisfaction, right? Like, my purpose is worthy. I've done the backhand.
Yeah, it's there now.
Fucking A, I think so. What about like emotionally or spiritually? What about psychologically? What are the thoughts that you think in a confident situation?
This is going to be super easy. Well, depends on the situation. If it's something that you already know you can do, I think that is a form of confidence.
Yeah, I like that.
But obviously, we're talking about situations as well where that's not the case. This is what I kind of mentioned when I said I felt like there were two different kinds of confidence. It's knowing for certain that you can do something, but also feeling like there's a very good likelihood that you can, as opposed to being positive.
Yeah, I like that. So again, in a matter of like reflecting on a previous experience, before going into a similar experience, you reference that and say, I've done shit like this before, this should be a piece of cake. Yeah, good. And again, sort of to Foley's point, like the spiritual element or the universal element of like, oh, I feel like the tokens or totems or signs or everything is aligning and this is the path that I'm on. Okay? How do we increase our confidence?
This is going to sound weird, but something that I kind of take a weird level of comfort in when it comes to doing stuff that requires a certain level of skill is that no matter how good you do, there will always be someone better. And I take comfort in that because that means that if that will always be the case, that means that there's no point in constantly beating myself up about not improving more than I already have. That doesn't mean that I don't want to keep improving, but I don't want to just be like, oh, that guy's stronger than I am, or is running faster than I am, or is doing X, Y, or Z better than I am. Like, maybe I can aspire to be like that guy. Great. But even if I reach their level, there will be someone else to look at and to feel inferior to. And so I just kind of try and look at my own, I try not to compare myself to others that much. I just determine what my own successes are to some degree.
Interesting. So previously we talked about like motivation and inspiration, sort of external factors, which would require you to compare yourself to other people.
Yeah, I don't think it's entirely a bad thing. I think when it turns into beating yourself up about like how you're not at their level yet, or maybe it's taking longer to reach a certain like weight that you're trying to reach or something.
So it's like comparing yourself to people just the right amount?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Literally, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense. Excuse me. So part of it is a compare and contrast.
I didn't think it's like being uncomfortable, because a lot of new situations, like you said, are going to make you uncomfortable, so it's pushing through that uncomfortableness. But I think it's important to have like some type of framework to process that stuff once you've done it. Otherwise, like in my case, then it just ends up negatively reinforcing the experience, really. Like, instead of looking at it positively, I guess, as a growth experience, then it's like I just look at it more like, oh, I failed again.
Yeah, so you have to know that even if the outcome isn't what your expectation is, there's a way to derive benefit from it if you have the correct mindset.
Yeah, and I feel like I automatically do that stuff when in any other arena, but I feel like this one again is weird because I feel like it like cuts to like who I am as a person.
Right.
Like if I don't hit a lift, it's not like, oh, it doesn't like me. It's just like, okay, like fucking
Training was off.
training a little off, I'll hit it next time. It's like the other stuff, it's like more of like, you know, it's like who I am, how I'm interacting, because that it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and now we're kind of getting to like a more salient point around like how confidence manifests or gets expressed in different aspects of our lives. Most of us as men probably have some physical capacity that we always feel confident about. Even if that's just like a hobby thing where we're like, with my hands, I can make a thing, and that makes me feel good about how I do that thing, right? It can also be exercise, it can also be cooking, right? Whatever we do for work. It's like, I know my shit, my body does this, I don't have to think real hard about it, I don't have to work in the sense of like effortfully trying to make it happen, right? Even if it is like physically challenging, right? Probably psychologically, some of us have some aspect where we're like, I know I can think about this. I have the knowledge or experience or book learning to say that I can speak eloquently about it, I know facts about it, etc., etc. If somebody asks me about it, I can tell them about it, right? Then we kind of get into the emotional realm. And again, maybe most of us have one or two aspects where we're like, okay, I feel confident that if this conversation comes up, I can navigate this in a way that will, you know, keep me emotionally safe, and I feel good about it, and I can also hold space for another person's emotions, and it feels okay. Right? And then spiritually, again, most of us probably have one thing we can think about where it's like, when I go out to the mountain and I experience the awe of nature, I'm confident that I'm connected to something bigger than myself. When I pray or when I go to my religious institution and I practice whatever my practice is and I feel that connection, I feel confident in my ability to access the divine in some way, shape, or form. Yes? So we all have some reference point for this. So what takes our confidence down?
Failure.
Yeah, you guys think that, but all of you have already talked about the reflecting process of looking back on something and figuring out some way to make it about growth. So I would argue that almost ironically, you have to fail occasionally to keep developing your confidence.
Well, then what about stagnation?
Indeed, say more.
It'd be your perception of that failure then.
I don't know if failure is the term, but like, my example for me is like, I used to be a bad swimmer, and I signed up for this master's swim class, which was stupid, don't ever do that. So third warm-ups are like 2,000 meters. But I got to be pretty good, you know? But after it, but like, I didn't fail.
No.
But I was pretty fucking bad for a long time. I was like, I swam with my head out of the water. I mean, that's how I grew up in Kansas, you know? I didn't have my head in the water, like stroking. But like, so when I showed up the first day, that's what I did. And I was just pretty bad at it for a while, but like.
Did they say anything?
No, they were pretty cool. But they would like do like 50-yard sprints and like, I mean, I would be a quarter, they'd be done, you know, waiting for me. It was embarrassing, but. Not failure, but like, not six. I don't know. Like, not good. Like, I don't know. You need that, but I do think failure like wipes it away. Like, if I had not like gotten better, or you know, like that would have been failure. But like, I wasn't good and I got better. I'm never good, but like I got better. But like, in other things, I think it's the same thing. Like, you're not as knowledgeable, you're not as good at a skill or whatever, and then you get better. But like failure, I don't know, it feels different. Like, if I walked into a room and failed, like at what I was doing, I would be more hesitant to do it the next time. That's different from like going in that room, not doing it as good, and be like, you know what? I could do a little better there. I could get better. I can refine that and go in next time, improve, be better, grow my confidence. But like, I don't know. I think failure cuts so hard. Maybe I'm wrong here.
I think some of that can be perception, and also kind of your own perception of whatever's of the failure as well. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Well,
come back to it. Go ahead, Zach.
Someone else comments.
What I started to say before was just repeating the same actions and not improving and not growing. Just going through the same playbook over and over again and not getting better, not improving, not growing. And after a while, you just, hopefully, you start to realize that makes you feel like shit.
So there's something about like ineffective cycles or something about,
Yeah, it's very much has to do with cycles that don't pay off.
cycles that don't pay off.
And embracing those cycles,
Oh my.
or repeating those cycles.
I like where you're headed. I'm trying to think of a more succinct way to phrase it. Because we talk about, there's like that cliche of like idiots or people who keep repeating the same action hoping for a different result.
That's madness, not peace. Sorry.
What is it?
It's madness, not
Madness?
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, idiots, whatever. Any kind of, some negative.
Yeah, I know, I'm just.
term. But so like, what's the quick, easy way to say it?
Madness is someone who keeps doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah, but I need it to fit right here for the purpose of the.
Put it into an acronym, I guess.
I could make it into an acronym.
I don't know.
I could. I'll say. I mean, ineffective cycles is essentially
Yeah.
what we're talking about. Is ineffective the right word? Is
Yeah,
ineffective
I like that.
just or non-productive or?
Yeah, those are all good.
Okay. So why is it relevant to treatment and pursuing sobriety?
Because if you don't think you can succeed, you're not even going to try.
If you don't think you can succeed, you're not even going to try.
Maybe there's a better way to put that, but there's something in there.
Well, and there's also plenty of people who think that they're going to succeed and don't.
Well, yeah, but it's a start.
What's a start?
Thinking that things can be better. Because if you don't believe that, then why are you even in treatment?
Valid question. Does getting better have to do with confidence?
I think to some degree, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I wish I could say with complete confidence that I'm never going to relapse again, but I'm 26, I've got a long life ahead of me, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I might end up drinking at some point, but I am confident that I will be able to pick myself up again from that and get back to sobriety.
Okay.
And I am confident that I am not going to hit such a low point that I'm going to want to kill myself again. And so, yeah, there's still an uncertainty there, but there's also some level of confidence and self-assuredness as well.
How do they both exist?
I mean, I try to be honest with myself. And I'm here right now. I've been sober for 4 months. I didn't think I could do that when I started. So who am I to say that I'll never be able to stay on this?
Yeah.
And I'm doing it so far, and I thought it was impossible before.
Right.
So, who knows?
And I think you hit on a topic that we haven't yet added to the mix, which is like honesty, or maybe even a bigger concept of like a radical acceptance of reality.
Yeah.
Because confidence in something that isn't realistic, is that really confidence, or is it more like the cockiness or the foolhardiness of, making assumptions about something or having high expectations about something that aren't really actually based in your abilities or based in whatever the reality of the situation is, and now you're just full speed ahead, hoping.
Well, if you don't accept the fact that you're fallible, you're gonna make mistakes, and when you do, you're gonna feel a hell of a lot worse about them, I think.
If you're not honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so. So where do we put honesty, or where do we put reality in this mix?
Probably the how.
Probably in the how. So like maybe realistic reflection, or
Yeah, or in just, yeah, maybe at the beginning, a realistic assessment, reflection.
I got you. Yeah, I think reality could go here for sure. I mean, the real answer goes in all of them, right? This is about realistic expectations and knowing where we have deficiencies that can be improved. This is about choosing situations that maybe fit our skill set or fit our desire for growth. So we don't just do hard shit for hard shit's purposes, but we do hard shit that we can derive benefit from or glean something positive from. Again, reality is all in these. I don't compare myself to Michael Jordan because that's not realistic. I might like to play basketball, but we are not on the same level, right? So having some reality to the discomfort, right? We're not just going to put ourselves in things that hurt us, right? Because that reduces our ability to perform tasks and do shit. So this needs to be a realistic level of discomfort. We have to be able to reflect in a meaningful, realistic way that applies to how we continue to grow. You need to be aware of which cycles don't work or which cycles don't apply to your reality and your lived experience, so you can get rid of those cycles and continue to work on the things that produce positive opportunities for growth. Okay, so this is homework for this weekend. You guys get to Google. There's plenty of therapists online who are talking about this now. This is one of those fucking trends that's going on in the industry. I think there's some silly cliches and some fucking TikTok shit that is not helpful about it, for sure. And there's some really important information around this concept that applies directly to how we pursue sobriety and how we navigate treatment. So Google it, check it out, find somebody who says some cool shit that you align with, and then journal about it. Write down some thoughts. If you could even apply it to like your personal life, that might be cool. And then we'll be able to check on it on Monday. On Monday, we're going to start the curriculum that I've been talking about. We're going to jump into a 12-week class, so it'll be much more structured than this. I'm hoping to have a handout. I fucking hate packets, but I have to do it because I'm not in charge of shit. So I need to make a packet and have you guys give me some feedback on it, and we need to write some stuff down. So
This feels very structured.
it is, but it's just because I'm real smart. That's the thing.
Confidence. There, dude.
And it is like I have a notebook, and these are all topics that are structured, but it's going to be something more interesting, hopefully, that will give us a bit more engagement and lead us on a really interesting path. Awesome work tonight, guys. Thank you for your effort. Give me a high five on the way out.
Keith, can I ride back with you or what?
Oh yeah, dude.
Are you getting fast food?
No, but if you want some, I'm gonna take you to get some.
Alright, dude.
Now. Take it easy, Tim.
Kevin's gonna holler at you about briefly mentioned one-on-one kind of alternative therapy. Yep.
Just to run
Like he found one for you, or you
No,
found
I
one?
did. I'm hoping he okays it, but it's way beyond just the end. He's gonna say he's gonna talk to you, and then he's gonna talk to obviously the owner. Just basically something there's like a philosophy. Business is run by, and he's like, he has his own personal thing going on where he's working for some board. But it still comes down to obviously the boss.
Are you looking into suicide and stuff?
Yeah, I found one already contacted him and they went away. I even told him, no, I'm pretty set on doing it, so if that would be okay, then I might just try to leave a few days early and, see what happens.
Yeah, we'll go to bed.
No, we haven't heard. It's actually northeast.
Well, here's the deal. So, not to share this with all the other guys, but I've done that myself. I'm super good. So, if you want to have check in with me like that, so in that direction. That's not all for you to treat us, but I want you guys to escalate solution. I did a couple sessions in that, so I know those people pretty well.
Okay. So one I'm looking at here is called Chariot. I mean, I hope, it would be nice to do it beforehand, because then I wouldn't have to waste money on a hotel and leave a few days early just to do it, just logistically, you know. Just a bunch of money around, and so, I mean, it'd be nice, but like he said, it's kind of on his hands, he said there's a few people he's gonna talk to, one of them with you. But then I think you probably open it up to have some higher up.
There's ways of, it's bending the philosophy because they do have, like that absolute philosophy to it. But also, recognizing that your situation is unique in the sense that you have some shit that CBT and DBT are not going to address. You're not going to be able to talk about that stuff in a meaningful way until you access some shit that you're not able to access.
That's how I totally understand that too.
So that's what I would say. These are the issues that allow you to have we have to into that, you need
Yeah, like, I'm already doing caffeine with my new medicine, which is so great, which I've done it before, so I mean, I think it'll definitely help, but I don't think it's gonna just like reset me right after anything else, but that's why I'm having stuff, like I told him, I just need to get to a spot where a lot of the more standard therapies will be Yeah, but yeah, he said he'd probably hire you next week, he said he's gonna try to get those calls taken care of, because, yeah, so, that's good, yeah. Alright,
Have a good night, sir.